Hey everyone, Sirturmund here again. So the other day, while we were playing Yasuo Katarina, we ended up getting beat by a player who was playing this really interesting Hecarim Gwen Noxus list. Well, we went ahead and kind of took their list. I did change a few things. I kind of, in my opinion, refined it a little bit. But I will also post their list in the comments so that you guys can, if you prefer their version versus my version, completely fine. I'm not going to take any hard feelings. But the idea with this Hecarim Gwen list is using some of the tools from Noxus, right? So the only two cards that we play for Noxus are Ruin Reckoner and Fallen Reckoner. Ruin Reckoner gives us access to Midnight Raid, which can synergize with Gwen, Hecarim, or Eternal Dancers. That Midnight Raid means that you're able to put that on any one of those key units and able to attack again and get full effect of their ability one more time, right? So Gwen will get to drain again, Eternal Dancers will get to summon something else, and Hecarim obviously does Hecarim things. The other card is Fallen Reckoner. Fallen Reckoner is a card that you might have seen Rick or Reds play in a lot of Overwhelm decks. The idea with this card is that you grant one of their units can block, right, to the weakest enemy. And from then on, that unit is pretty much useless for them because it's no longer able to block. Our deck does a lot of damage because remember, we're playing the whole Gwen package with Hallowed. So even our little Spiderling from Battlefield can all of a sudden have 5 attack. So if the opponent has less and less blockers, they have less chance of actually responding to that. This ends up being pretty crazy as well because it gives us an ephemeral Risen Reckoner once the Fallen Reckoner dies, which does the same thing, but this time it comes as an ephemeral, which what does that synergize with? That synergizes with Hecarim level up. The Reckoner has Overwhelm, so you can get the Hallowed buff, and it can also summon our Shark Chariots. Now, this deck is a Shark Chariot deck, so let's actually talk about the Shadow Owl pieces of the combo right now. So we are playing both the Gwen package and then some of the cards from what you would call Hecarim package, like Shark Chariot. Obviously, the host is such a good one-drop. We play 2 Phantom Butler for some fearsome damage. We play 3 Strike of the Band because obviously this summons 2 ephemeral units, which can both synergize with Shark Chariot or count as a Hecarim attack. And then we talked about the 2 Eternal Dancers. That way you can either resummon Gwen, resummon a Fallen Reckoner, or Ruin Reckoner, which either way could be pretty crazy. You can, if you resummon the Ruin Reckoner, you get the Midnight Raid again because this is a summon effect. So you're able to go ahead and attack with her at the end and just keep attacking like that. Or you can resummon the Fallen Reckoner, which will end up removing the opponent's blocker and having another Overwhelm unit there. So that's it from like the Gwen package, except for Gwen herself. Here, Gwen is kind of like a more alternate win condition. Just kind of gives us some drain to stay alive and puts a lot of pressure. Then I guess from the Hecarim side of things, we play Shark Chariot, which obviously gets summoned with every ephemeral, and we play Blighted Caretaker. Obviously, Blighted Caretaker gives us 2 ephemeral attackers as well, which just like I've been talking about, synergizes with the rest of our cards. And also, because of Hallowed, a single sapling could technically go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attack and be able to remove the opponent's unit that way, which is really, really cool. Hecarim himself is obviously something that you want to drop down in the field and just get so much value for him from attacking. If he levels up, his effect is permanent now. So as soon as he levels up once, you pretty much win the game because then you have all these other ephemerals that are just going to be really buffed up. Now, the rest of the support cards that we're playing 2 Shadow Owl Tailstones that gives me access to either Mark of the Isles, Spirit Journey, and Crumble. All 3 of which can actually be really useful in this deck. We play the Mark of the Isles obviously will let us either in a pinch level up Hecarim if we need another ephemeral unit or be able to summon the Shark Chariots. The Crumble can just kill at the unit because we're not playing Vengeance, and the Spirit Journey can just reset them. Usually it's Crumble or Mark of the Isles they use. Shroud of Darkness is such a spicy tech that I think people underrate, and yeah, it was crazy. So the player that we lost to, that we took this list from, their name is just HMMM, and they surprised us a lot with Shroud of Darkness. You end up having a hard time because really all you need with this deck is 1 turn where you can get a full attack with Hecarim, and if you're able to protect it with Shroud of Darkness, it goes crazy. Same thing, even with the Eternal Dancers, you can do it with her as well. So it's not just Hecarim. So there's a lot of units that like that Shroud of Darkness, even if it's just for 1 turn. Because once you have the Hecarim combo turn going on, it goes out of control. 2 Glimpse, just for some draw, triple Battle Feast to protect ourselves and get some nice fodder for Caretaker. We talked about Strike of the Band. And then lastly, triple Hallowed, right? It's a Hecarim deck. Triple Hallowed makes sense. Hallowed lets us summon the Reckoner again, for example. Either one of the Reckoners, right? If he summons the Rune Reckoner, we can just always keep back one Ephemeral unit, attack, get the Sharks, and then attack with that other Ephemeral unit again. Fallen Reckoner just gets rid of all their blockers. So it ends up being really crazy, right? This deck is actually, I think, nuts and has a potential to be really, really good. So that's why I decided to showcase it. Honestly, I know I have a lot of high hopes for Tybalt Gwen, but this is, in my opinion, might be very close to being one of the best Gwen decks out there. But anyways, I've been really speaking about it too much. So I'm going to leave you guys with the games. Hope you enjoy them. As always, if you like the content, please make sure to like the video below and subscribe to us. We post LOR videos every single day. I'll see you at the end of the video for some mulligan tips. So in this matchup, we'll be going up against Gnar LeBlanc. This is we're going up against Monte Cristo. Okay, we're going to go up against Monte Cristo. I need to gift in this one. We love Monte Cristo. If you guys don't know, me and Monte write a weekly article for Master Runeterra where we do like lineup recommendations. We're skipping. We skipped last week because there was a new patch, but honestly, Hecarim feels kind of good. How does he beat the Hecarim? How does he beat the Hecarim? We keep the Hecarim. Honestly, my only concern here is the fact that we don't have a lot of early blockers, so he could technically get a lot of value here. So this is a little bit scary. We can do the Shark. Doesn't matter whether it's the Shark or the Butler. It's gonna be the same. I guess actually it was not the same. We end up he ends up being able to block, so we end up not pushing any damage this turn. I think I'm still okay with that, right? The only downside is not having any Ephemerals to actually get that Shark back into our hand. Now we have a good blocker here for the Trapper. This should be a Jetty deck. My guess is that this is a full-on Jetty deck. This is awkward. This is really, really awkward. I don't want to use this now. I need to use this as a combo piece for later. It's kind of... I think I'm throwing my combo away if I do the Rune Reckoner right now. Now, if the opponent decides to do this, am I supposed to give him... Am I supposed to actually just push the 4 damage here? Am I supposed to actually just push the 4 damage here and have a blocker for the Gnar? I kind of think I am. It feels really bad doing this, but this is going up to 5, so I'm actually pushing 5 damage, right? Because of the Hallowed buff. So 5 damage is not nothing. 5 damage is good, right? We can do the Fallen Reckoner so that this Gnar is not a good blocker anymore. And anything else that is summoned. Well, I mean, that card is not a blocker anyways, right? So we can just do this. Even if the opponent has Troll Shan, we still have blockers. We go here. Opponent will have access to the Pokey Stick. We go Reckoner. The Gnar is no longer a blocker that we need to care about. We play Hecarim and just push a ton of damage. Probably was not playing around the Rune Reckoner. Probably was not playing around the Gwen Reckoner. I will tell you that. 100% sure he was not playing around the Gwen Reckoner. So we play Hecarim instead of Gwen, because obviously it's better. Opponent doesn't have access to Reckoning anyways. I mean... Okay, he's just gonna wallop. So they're still taking 8 damage. So they're still taking 8 damage right here. Actually 9 damage, sorry. Still taking 9 damage because of the Hallowed buff. And we can do the same thing again next turn with the next unit that he summons by putting the Fallen Reckoner. Now, he probably has the Jetty at this point, right? Pretty sure the opponent has the Jetty at this point. But he knows that when he starts killing this unit, all I'm going to do is be able to resummon it over and over again. The funny thing with this card is that when he comes back with the Hecarim, it gets rid of all their blockers all over again. Which is why I'm saying that I don't think he's going to have a way to deal with the Hecarim. He's gonna commit the second. So that's triple Gnar. So because that was a Gnar that he used right there. So he committed the second Wallop. So that's a little bit unlucky that he had triple Gnar. But also not the end of the world for us either. He's gonna level up the Gnar, which means that he'll be able to pull the Hecarim. And then I guess I just... Do I just Harrowing them? Do I just Harrowing after the opponent kills this Hecarim? Now, if the opponent only kills Hecarim, then he's not doing a ton. I don't hate the Harrowing. Especially if he's giving me this. Yeah, if he gives me this, I wouldn't have minded the Harrowing. Since he's not giving us this, I guess we can go Gwen instead. Yeah, we can go Gwen instead. Because we can do Blighted Caretaker.
We follow the legends until we become them.
So here's the question. Is it just Blighted Caretaker this time instead of Harrowing? Because Harrowing doesn't really give us anything, right? The Gnar still cannot block. We can pull 2 of his blockers away. We can make it so that... Huh. This is interesting. The Harrowing is not enough. I also kind of feel like I do need blockers though. We only got 1 Hallowed, so we can actually... We only got 1 Hallowed. So this is not gonna summon Hecarim. Oh. I think this is the worst play, right? So it has to be either the Fallen Reckoner into the Caretaker. And I kind of like this better. We can still do the Caretaker and just get some value that way. It just kind of sucks, but at least we make it so that the little thing is not a problem, right? So we go here. We're able to pull everything away. The Gwen still gets to push a lot of damage. And we also get the Shark Chariot, so we don't actually have to attack with the Caretaker. Okay. So, remember, we also have 1 Hallowed buff. So we only have 1 Hallowed buff. So we can go here, here, here. We put these 2 units away. If the opponent wants to block the Wind Reckoner, they're gonna have to sacrifice their Yeti. If they block here, I'm okay with that. If they block here, I'm okay with this, because now this is in the graveyard. We clear the whole board. That's still lethal right here. Man, the camp block is so huge. I think, honestly, Reckoner... Okay, oh wow, that's a good draw. That's a very good draw there. We're still able to clear the whole board. We keep our whole board back. Opponent didn't get to level up Gnar this turn. And just used up their Heartstrings. And then next turn we have Harrowing. And we have enough ways to completely get rid of all his blockers that we're in a really good spot, right? Like, we even get the Battle Feast now. We go like this. That stops that from working. We can Battle Feast to get rid of another blocker. And we can Eternal Dancers to summon back. I guess as long as he summons at least 1 Ephemeral, it will summon the Shark Chariot, right? So that's all we care about. He's gonna go for the Pokey Stick, which is fine with me, because then that gives me access to be able to... I want more space for the Harrowing. How does he beat the Harrowing? How does he beat the Harrowing? Or is it just Eternal Dancers and not get greedy? I'm trying to see how they beat the Harrowing. I mean, the Harrowing gives us 3 cards. Hecarim and 2 more of these Reckoners. All of which are going to be able to present lethal. We can play around the freeze that way. Gwen will level up. I guess not really, right? Well, she will because of the Hallowed buff. Or is it just Eternal Dancers? Eternal Dancers doesn't feel as good. Then we just go like this. We go like this. Both his Gnar and his Yeti are gonna get hit by the other Reckoners. And there we go. So now opponent has 0 blockers and we have a full board of attackers. It's not a deny. This region doesn't play deny. This region doesn't play deny. Yeah. Yeah. His whole board cannot block. And Hecarim will level up. So his whole board cannot block. That's so gross. That is actually so gross.
What a joy.
That is actually so gross. Yeah, that is actually amazing. The only downside, I guess we could have summoned the Shark Chariot. We should have summoned the Shark Chariot if we attack with another Ephemeral first. But it doesn't matter, everything is lethal here. Because Hecarim buffs everything up. And there you go. GG's, Monty. GG's. I'm really liking this deck. Really liking this deck. And we got to plat 1 with it, so GG's. In this matchup, we'll be going up against Thralls. Freezes are very annoying for us. Rider Negation is very annoying for us. Because Rider Negation can stop the Harrowing. Let's just keep the Shark Chariot. I don't mind the Gwen. We get the Fallen Reckoner, we get the Shark Chariot, we get the... Oh, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. I don't hate this. I do not hate this. Double Shark Chariot, meaning that we can actually attack with the Chariot, with the Sharks on turn 3. So we can Shark, Gwen, Reckoner. So we can Shark here. When it could have Lysandra for next turn, it has to be Lysandra. Okay, so they have no Thralls, so it has to be Lysandra, otherwise they fall really behind. We could do Strike of the Ban. Is that better? The Strike of the Ban here, I don't think it is, right? Because we can play Shark right here, attack with 2 Sharks, that's 6 damage. We Gwen on turn 4, leaving us with 2 spell mana, and then on turn 5 we can do Strike of the Ban. Or is it just Strike of the Ban right now? Just so that we start getting the actual value from the Hallowed. I think it's just Strike of the Ban right now. I think this gives me access to the Hallowed buff. The only downside with playing this now is that our spell mana is not that useful at the moment. Opponent could have the Avalanche. They could do the Avalanche right here. That will stop us from getting the Shark and getting the damage. But assuming that they have Lysandra, because if it's not Lysandra, I think we always win this game now, because they're going to be really delayed on their Thralls. But I say that, but opponent could have access to the Draglorn and then still get like 2-3 Thralls by turn 8. Because if he doesn't have any Thrall in his hand, then he has all the countdown cards, right? So if opponent has the Draglorn, it's not a Draglorn, it's just going to be the Harbinger. We go like this, still push 4 damage, and we start getting the Hallowed buff in the graveyard. So we start getting the Hallowed buff in the graveyard. And what we can do is that we can try to just open with Gwen, right? So if we open with Gwen, then we can do Ruin Reckoner and level up Gwen. That's not bad. That is not bad. Opponent will need to have access to the Entomb or the Freeze. And that might not be enough. If the opponent doesn't block, we push 7 damage. Okay, so now he got all the Thralls. So 5 cards in their deck. I want to open attack and make the opponent think that they're safe. I want to open attack, make the opponent think that he can go ahead and just not do anything to this. And then we can do the Ruin Reckoner. I think playing for the Shark Chariot and Caretaker is a little bit too greedy because we get punished by Avalanche, right? This way the opponent gets baited to thinking that there's nothing else that we have. Okay, he's gonna actually block with Lysandra. I guess he could have the Freeze here and then do that, then do this block. The only scary part is that the opponent keeps a mana for Rider Negation. But then they will be using the Rider Negation on a 0-cost spell. Which feels pretty bad, right? Okay, so we level up Gwen right here. We level up Gwen and the opponent's gonna lose Lysandra anyways. Because now the opponent doesn't have enough to actually... I guess he could summon the Thrall, right? He could have Time in a Bottle. He could have Time in a Bottle. He could have Time in a Bottle, or he could have the 2-drop. Doesn't have it. So Gwen levels up right here. Actually, she's gonna be 1-off. No, she's not gonna level up. She's... No. Should be... Does the tough. So the... We deal... No, it's gonna be enough. It's gonna be just enough. It's 2 and then 4. The tough reduces it by 1. So that's why it's gonna be exactly 6. Yeah, that... That sweating emoji, huh? We get a level of Gwen. We get a level of Gwen, and we have our Hecarim, right? We have our Hecarim coming up soon. What? The only downside here is that Hecarim doesn't really have a ton of value right now. What we can do is run Fallen Reckoner.
Point the way, and I'll make the way.
What if we just... So, what if it's not Hecarim? What if it's not Hecarim? What if it's just Reckoner, right? Into second Reckoner, into Shark Chariot, and just get rid of his blockers? What if that is the play? Because this way, Talia doesn't block. So now that Talia is useless as a blocker. Because the opponent's at 12 HP. All I need is one big attack to win the game. Now, he does have access here, and I don't care about this Talia. Cool. So, ideally, I actually want to summon the Shark Chariots. So let's consider this. We can Reckoner and Shark Chariot. But that loses to a couple things. We can Caretaker, get the Risen Reckoner, which is a little bit better, and have a bigger unit. As well as having the 2 challengers. Which means that we can challenge the other Thrall away. But it still gets very punished by Avalanche. Still gets very punished by Avalanche. But this does mean that we have... If opponent doesn't Avalanche right now, we can just pull. We can just pull and try to win the game that way. But then we lose to the freeze. Because the freeze is going to completely block the Gwen attack. So Avalanche. We're still able to summon the Shark Chariot because of the Risen Reckoner being an ephemeral attacker. Which is what I was looking for, that Shark Chariot play. That will get our Hecarim to 5 out of 7. And then we just play Hecarim on turn 8. And be able to win like that. I think it's correct to do the Reckoner, the Risen Reckoner. No matter... Yeah, okay, so that's the Avalanche. So opponent gets rid of our Saplings. Opponent could have a second Avalanche. I'm gonna go ahead and do like this. This does stop us from being able to actually pull this guy in, which is pretty good. We can threaten lethal by attacking with this one on the left. The Gwen copies the buff anyways, and this is already dealing 6. And we summon the Shark Chariot. I forgot about the Shark Chariot as well. Sense of Time shouldn't be enough. Okay, so let's say that the opponent has Sense of Time. Okay, yeah. That should be game, right? That should be game then, because if we go like this... No, if we go like this, opponent's always just blocking this one here, right? So at this point, we might as well just do the Reckoner and call it a day. Maybe we just go like this and call it a day. This is dealing 2. Gwen deals 6 plus another 3. That's 9. Plus the 2 from the Reckoner is 11, and the Shark Chariot gets us there. So the Shark Chariot gets us there. Yeah, this should be it. I guess opponent could block 4, 7 plus 3 from Gwen is 10. Yeah, this is lethal no matter... Yeah, this is lethal. If we order it this way, this is always lethal. Opponent can only block here, reduce 2 damage. Opponent doesn't have 2 blockers here. This shouldn't be a combination of ways for him to block because of the Shark Chariot that we ended up getting. Because this is already dealing 3, even if the opponent blocks here. This is dealing 2, so that's 5. Plus another 7, that's going to be 12. Yep, exactly. Though. If he does it like that, it's even more. So there we go. We even have the Battle Feast to even push an additional point of damage if we needed to right here. We could have done the Battle Feast first, I guess, if we saw that we didn't have the math to do it. But Gwen is pretty good. Gwen and Reckoner is very, very good together. Like, look how much value from opponent having no blockers. Like, these are 2 units that the opponent had on the field. I couldn't do anything. So, GG's. So in this matchup, we'll be going against Gwen Annie, which is going to be a Tybok deck, most likely, right? The Shadow of Darkness is actually super interesting, but maybe not this early. We need to be able to get our champions. I don't mind doing the Caretaker. We get punished only by a Whale. So we have a really nice combo here. We can do Strike of the Band plus Blade Caretaker on turn 3. We get the Rune Reckoner, but we don't have our champions to actually be able to use the Rune Reckoner. So this is actually really nice. Obviously Battle Feast is annoying as well, but really Whale is the big punish here. Because he can Whale and completely clear all our units, including the challengers, which would be kind of annoying. But at the very least, we get a bunch of we get to progress the Hecarim level up, right? At least by 3. Yeah, we get to progress the level up by 3 at least, which is pretty good. We get Gwen. Okay, so at least we have 1 champion. I'm guessing the opponent doesn't summon anything here, right? Doesn't make sense to? I mean, I guess if they summon something, if they don't summon anything, I should pass. That way we don't lose to the well. If they summon something, then I can do the combo that we were gonna do anyways. Like if it does a Battle Feast, I'm okay doing the Caretaker here. Yeah, well, I have to just do this, right? I lose too hard to a well. I lose way too hard to a well if I do anything else. Like if I was to do anything else there, the well would be such a punish. Such a punish, right? Oh, wow. We could just Battle Feast now, I guess. We could just Battle Feast now. We can threaten the kill on the Gwen by doing the Bladed Caretaker, right? I think I'm gonna take this damage. I think I'm gonna threaten the kill on the Gwen by doing the Bladed Caretaker. But again, once again, we lose to Well, right? Well punishes us very badly. Flock? I think I'm okay with the Flock here. I'm okay with this Flock. Yep, I'm okay with this Flock. Because we just want to try to kill that Gwen, right? So we're gonna go like this. Now, if we're not able to kill that Gwen, then the opponent will level her up his Gwen next turn, right? Which is a little bit unfortunate. Because the opponent easily has a Battle Feast here to have a well or anything like that. Which is a problem. We have some nice combo, but we really need the Hecarim, right? To really make this work. Yeah, so if we go like this, opponent just goes ahead and does the Battle Feast here. So maybe we don't do it. Maybe we just go like this and just play the Battle Feast on the Gwen. Why don't we just push the damage? Why don't we just push the damage? Maybe the opponent gets greedy and doesn't do a Battle Feast right here, and then we're able to kill the Gwen anyways. Like maybe opponent gets super greedy here, says, oh well, since you're not killing my Gwen, I'm not gonna do anything about it. If we did it, we had to not hesitate for them to take this bait. We had to like not hesitate. If we didn't hesitate, okay, they had the well anyway. So okay, so we were always losing to the well. We were always losing to the well regardless. Sure, you know. What else can I do about it? He's gonna level up his Gwen. They're gonna level up their Gwen. What we can do is Shroud of Darkness. This will let us bring back our own Gwen. It just kind of sucks, because... Because I need to threaten this Gwen somehow. If we do the Eternal Dancers now, she's just gonna die to a vengeance, right? I guess let's start with this. Let's start with the Dancers. If she dies to vengeance, that's okay. If she dies to the vengeance, that's okay. Otherwise, we do this. Opponent could have a Gohar here. Kills the Battle Piece. Doesn't have the Gohar. Okay, so do we lose to the second well? Do we lose to the second well? We have the combo here. The opponent doesn't kill the Eternal Dancers now. Okay, he's just gonna stun her now. Okay. So we lose to a second well. We lose to Battle Feast. I should have probably played around that, to be honest. Like, I probably should have played around the Stun Spider. Because now opponent can just have Battle Feast here to kill this. Or could just have the second Gwen as well. And then someone's Tybook on the next turn, and then we lose. We still get the combo here. We still get the combo because of the Ruin Reckoner, by the way. So opponent's gonna need to commit a unit. Because the stun doesn't matter for the for the Midnight Raid. Ah. Okay. I'm gonna force him to have the last flock. I'm guessing he did that flock now so that he could get another flock with the catalog. So he did that flock now so that he could get the second flock with the catalog. But now I force him to use it now. That way he loses the value, right? So I'm okay with this. I'm okay taking those flocks out of the way. Or I mean, eating up those flocks. Now the Tybook is gonna be really annoying. But the opponent doesn't really have a great target for the flocks. And now we just need to draw the Harrowing and we win the game. This is not bad. This is actually not bad at all. This gets rid of a blocker. This gets rid of a blocker. Problem is that opponent's still at 18 health, right? So opponent's still at 18 health. Which is kind of annoying. So we just go like this. Yeah, sure. I mean, opponent's always going to be able to kill this, right? Okay, they don't have it. So we know they have a flock in their hand. And we get the Hecarim. So we have just enough mana to actually do the Risen Reckoner. And also do the Hecarim. Ha. This is interesting. I'm going to go ahead here first. Get rid of the Annie as a blocker. I want him to commit a card first, and now that he does, we do the Shroud of Darkness, do the Hecarim. Opponent literally only has the mana for Decimate, nothing else. His only blocker is the Tybook, and we push a ton of damage. His only blocker is the Tybook, and we literally have lethal here, right? Or very close to it. We messed up. We messed up. I forgot about the... Man, I messed up. Battle Feast is enough. I forgot about the fact that we could have... We needed to put the Hecarim here. We needed to put the Hecarim here because the opponent is able to block this. I forgot about the Hallowed buff. But he ends up not mattering anyways. And there we go. We almost messed up. But we got the combo up. And that's why Shroud of Darkness kind of makes sense in this deck. Because all you only need one good attack with Hecarim or the Eternal Dancers to just win the game from there. So GG's. Here we'll be up against Feel the Rush, which is really annoying for us because we have no way to stop their Feel the Rush itself. Now, the Eternal Dancers is kind of cute, but obviously Vengeance is kind of a punish, but Vengeance shouldn't be that big of a deal. I think the Phantom Butler is probably the worst one of this bunch, right? Because the Butler just dies to the Battle Piece. Yeah, the Butler is probably the worst one of this group that we just picked. We can do the Hose. Do the Shark, and then just try to push 5 damage that way. Then we save the Caretaker for our next attack turn, but the opponent could easily just have an Avalanche or a Battle Piece to be able to stop the... I mean, the Avalanche just kind of punishes us, right? So it would have to be the Avalanche in the next turn.
Welcome
I guess we'll go ahead and do the Butler. Might as well. Yeah, Avalanche just blows us out. Avalanche just blows us out. Are we ever playing around the Avalanche? I think we are. What if we just do Gwen? Because we have the Ruin Reckoner.
Where do I start?
Which means that we can actually level up Gwen if the opponent doesn't commit the Vengeance here. So if the opponent doesn't kill this Gwen right here, we can do the Ruin Reckoner next turn and able to attack with Gwen again and level her up.
They're out there. I'll spot 'em.
Now, opponent can always block here, can always block here. We want to make sure that he doesn't get a valuable block here. So we have, well, actually, we don't have any Hallowed in the graveyard yet. We don't have any Hallowed in the graveyard yet. So we shouldn't attack with the host. Or should we attack with the host? Knowing that the opponent has to... We still attack with the host, right? If the opponent has an Avalanche or a Ravine, and he blocks this with the Tyrant Keeper, then obviously they end up losing it anyways. Oh, okay, so he went like this. He's definitely telegraphing to me that he has access to Avalanche or Ravine and doesn't want to take damage here. But again, our plan here was to level up Gwen, and we're about to do just that because of the Ruin Reckoner. The opponent needs to commit the Vengeance. Doesn't have it. We do Ruin Reckoner, we level up Gwen. Opponent still loses the whole board here. Because he has to block with the Tyrant Keeper, so they still lose the Tyrant Keeper. And then what do we do here? Doesn't block with the Tyrant Keeper? What?
No matter their resolve,
That's such a greedy block. That's such a really non-block, I mean. We gotta Battle Feast this guy at the start of the turn, by the way. So we're gonna go like this. Oh, wait. Ah, man. We're gonna Battle Feast it. We're gonna Battle Feast it first. Get it out of the way. I want the opponent to kill our Gwen, and then we can play the Eternal Dancers, right? Okay, okay, okay. So, I think we just play Eternal Dancers, right? Because if the opponent has Battle Feast, he's always gonna kill the he's always gonna kill the Gwen with the Battle Feast. So by playing the Eternal Dancers, we get the Shark Chariot because we have the Shark Chariot in the graveyard, and we get, and this is the combo, right? We get the Ruin Reckoner, and we get the value, and that's it. So by playing the Eternal Dancer first, we're able to, like, if the opponent kills the Gwen, we just get to summon the Gwen again, right? And the opponent loses the game because the Gwen will attack with the Eternal Dancers. If the opponent decides not to kill the Gwen like he saw there, then we got the Ruin Reckoner back, which means that we get to attack with the Gwen again. So, GG's. Here in this matchup, we'll be going up against Kindred Senna. Huh. Took me a second to recognize that was Senna, by the way. Took me just 1 second there. So Kindred Senna. So we're gonna be dealing with like vengeances and stuff like that, right? I don't hate keeping the Hecarim, right? I don't hate keeping the Hecarim because if we get the Shroud of Darkness, okay, Hallowed is also just as good, right? So and we get the Shroud of Darkness as well. So the Shroud of Darkness ends up being really, really good for us because we're able to summon that Hecarim and just get value that way. I'm gonna go ahead and just do this now while I have the attack. That way we get two towards the Hecarim level of progress, as well as just push 4 damage. Putting, I guess, could have Battle Feast or Gohar here, stop one of them. But ironically, if they kill one of them right now, it just buffs up the second one, right? Now we are gonna take a lot of damage here. Okay, no, opponent's gonna block both. Okay, that makes sense. Because opponent's at control deck, so there's no reason for them to take damage. The Shroud of Darkness is gonna be really, really good. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to kill their units though, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I think I'm okay letting the Gwen die. I think I definitely want to have, because I'm attacking on turn 6, so I want to be able to have the Shroud of Darkness on the Hecarim. Don't really care about Gwen.
embrace life.
So we go like this. We're gonna push 7 damage because opponent's probably not gonna block this. And just like that, we just push 7 damage. Now, the downside here is that the opponent will be able to probably kill my units, right? Not anymore though, right? So if we do this, it makes it so that if the opponent has a way to kill one of them, it's just gonna... Okay, it's gonna just call and strike. Alright, alright. I guess we should just glimpse then. So opponent has the calling strike, which doesn't do anything for our Hecarim. Do I want to put the host? Do I want to play the host? Do I want to play the host? Gives the opponent calling strike access. We might as well. I mean, we're not going to do anything else. We're just going to summon Hecarim, right? So why not play the host? Why not play the host? I guess... Oh, actually, that's a misplay, right? Because now the opponent will be able to kill that Hecarim. But the opponent will always be able to do that, because he can always kill whatever units we summon with the Hecarim. But if the opponent wants to kill this Hecarim, they need to kill the host right now. So this is going to put... This is going to actually stop... Okay, so that's 2 spells. That's 2 spells that the opponent has. So if he kills this, it puts the mark on the Hecarim. So the Hecarim will die, but the opponent has to block with the Kindred, otherwise they lose the game, right? Okay, so this is gonna be a Vengeance then. So if the opponent has Vengeance here, then we want to attack like this, because if they Vengeance the Hecarim, the Hallowed buff goes to waste. So we're gonna go like this instead. So this way, even if they Vengeance the Hecarim, they still have to block. They still have to kill. Yeah, they still have to block here, otherwise they lose the game. Well, I guess don't lose. They would have taken 7 damage. So we correctly put around the Vengeance. Now, opponent is going to have access to Go Hard or Vengeance next turn. Do we care? I mean, is there anything that we have to do? They lose the Calling Strike. We get another Hecarim. So we know that the opponent potentially has Vengeance. They just stepped out of it, so we can safely play the Hecarim. And just win the game that way. Because this is... Actually, it's not leveling up just yet, though. Now, we do have the Rune Reckoner. I need to open attack because of the Ruination mana, right? It could play Gohar here and potentially get a flock. Because either they got a Gohar copy or they got something else last turn. Now, opponent still has... Okay. That means that we can play Ruination. Alright, so... I mean, sorry. We don't have to play around Ruination anymore. So what we're gonna do is that we're gonna Harrowing. Opponent only has access to opponent has access to another Undergrowth, but that's not gonna be enough. This gives us another Hecarim, by the way, and we also get the Gwen. And this should begin. And there we go. The moment that the opponent tapped out of Ruination, that was like our only concern, right? Because that Ruination completely counters our Harrowing. So, GG's. Here we'll be going up against Kaisa Sivir. So I need to be worried about that Kaisa level up that happens really, really quickly. I don't mind keeping the 1 Battle Feast, to be honest. I feel like I want to... honestly, the Phantom Butler probably is not a bad idea either, because opponent probably plays the Fearsome. I just feel like by keeping this hand, and like I have a very low value hand. This card should be really good, though, against them. Yeah, this card is going to be really good against them, in my opinion. We have a blocker for the Boiling, so I'm not too concerned about that. We can summon the Phantom Butler and just push 5 damage if the opponent doesn't summon anything else. Let's do this, because this is a Fearsome. This is not Fearsome, so this guarantees that we push the damage versus this getting blocked by the Boiling. Yeah, so we go like this. Opponent can block here, but we at least push 3 regardless. I guess they could have the Sharp Sight. Sharp Sight is not enough. Sharp Sight is only +1, not +2. Shapestone will only been +1 as well, because he hasn't summoned a landmark. So we get this value here. Alright. Now what? He's gonna just kill this? Okay, he's gonna Blinding Assault. But we can just Battle Feast that away. I guess he's trying to kill the Phantom Butler. For him to do Blinding Assault this early, he must have something to protect it. Do we actually kill this? Because all he's doing here is just giving us... giving us another Hallowed buff, right? So I'm okay with that. I'm okay with getting another Hallowed buff. Unfortunately, I don't have like the greatest hand, so I didn't want to summon the Shark Chariot because we had no way to actually protect them. This is gonna be pushing 5 damage here. Opponent obviously just doesn't block. We Battle Feast. Do we Battle Feast this or do we Battle Feast the next one, right? Because Battle Feast here doesn't do anything for us. I think I need to Battle Feast the next Valor. I think we just Battle Feast the next Valor and call it a day. Right? Let's go ahead and do this. At this point, we just want to get rid of their blockers. If it goes like this, we can block and summon another one. Is that better than doing the Hecarim? I think it is. That gives me access to a Shark Chariot. So we can do the Risen Reckoner, gives us access to a Shark Chariot, and opponent's not able to block either one. It's very close to lethal. It's not exactly lethal just yet, but it's very, very close here. Because the Sivir cannot block. This gets us summon the Shark. Opponent goes down to 1. So I guess we gotta summon this first. This is presenting lethal now. So this is presenting lethal now. I'm gonna have this card attack first so that we spread our damage a little bit. Alright. Opponent can just kill this though. That could be a problem. So opponent could just kill this. But if we don't do it now, it's still pretty bad for us. I guess since the opponent has a blocker for this, we go ahead and just do it this way now. Because the opponent's always going to be able to block the Butler. So we might as well do it here. Just push the full 11 damage again, I guess. Because he's going to have Concerted Strike or single combat here, right? There's no other way about it. Quicksand, okay. Quicksand's pretty good. Quicksand is very good, but it still keeps our unit alive. If you had Quicksand... I guess the Quicksand doesn't remove the Ephemerals, so it wouldn't have worked. I was like, if you have Quicksand, why not Quicksand beforehand? But that's because he actually doesn't stop it. Now, if the opponent gets Valor and Kai'Sa, we lose the game. And I don't care. I'm not going to play around Valor plus Kai'Sa. I'm just going to do the Battle Feast here. And then summon my Hecarim. And if the opponent is able to kill the Hecarim, we can Harrow him. We could also just do the second Reckoner as well. But the Harrowing summons 2 of these guys. So it's always going to be Harrowing. I guess opponent has Runner Negation, so Harrowing is a little bit scary. Yeah, I guess opponent always has Runner Negation, so maybe it's not Harrowing. Maybe it's just Hecarim and Strike of the Core. That doesn't sound bad to me. If the opponent does nothing right here, I think we just pass. If the opponent summons another blocker, we do this. That way the opponent literally has no blockers. And then we can Harrow him and Strike of the Ban. The opponent's gonna have to have both. Okay, well, yeah, this is game. We also have Strike of the Ban. Opponent has literally no blockers. This is gonna have Overwhelm and also has the Spell Shield. Opponent needs to summon a unit. And I don't think that's gonna be enough. We summon a Shark and we also summon the 2 Shadows. The only downside is that this doesn't level up. This has Quick Attack, Elusive, Fearsome, Challenger, Spell Shield, Tough, Scout, Formidable Bolt. So we're just gonna go ahead and level up the... We're just gonna go ahead and level this up, right? Doesn't have lifesteal, so I'm not concerned about it. Cataclysm is not enough to kill us. So we do like this. This will level up the Hecarim, and all our Sharks etc. are gonna have a lot of body now. We only need 4 to level up Hecarim, and we know the Shark is gonna come down. So we go here. Now the question is, do we buff up the Hecarim? I guess we do, right? Or do we buff the Reckoner? No, I guess we go like this. He summons the shark and summons the other stuff. This is dealing... Oh, but it's actually... No, it's more damage if we go this way. If opponent blocks with the boiling, he still loses. So yeah, that's game. That's game right here. Even if the opponent blocks with the boiling, he will lose the boiling because the Hecarim levels up, putting 7 attack. And we have lethal everywhere else. Shroud of Darkness. Shroud of Darkness is really good. Woo! Hecarim buff coming in clutch. But I think really the Reckoner is the MVP of this deck. I don't think, based on the games that you all have seen today, I think there's no denying that the MVP of this deck is that Fallen Reckoner. It just puts so much work, because the weakness with Ephemerals, especially those from Hecarim, is that they could always be chump block, but the Fallen Reckoner makes it so that the opponent really doesn't have a good chump block either, so GG's. Hey, welcome back everybody. What do you think about those games? You can see what I'm talking about. Like, this combo can get pretty crazy once you kind of get going, and Hallowed can just win you the game on the spot against a lot of decks in the meta that don't have a way to deny this or stop this. But really, the MVP of this deck, as I play this deck more, is this card. You saw in how many games the Fallen Reckoner just completely stops the opponent from having anything that they can do. Is absolutely nuts how much value this card can actually get. I really like it. I'm just excited. Honestly, this card is nuts to me. Nuts. But anyways, enough about that. Let's talk a little bit about the mulligan. You kind of saw how I approached that a lot. I think Shark Chariot does a lot for the deck. So you always want to keep the Shark Chariot in your opening hand. And then I like doing the host, right? So host, Shark Chariot, or Butler as well. Like those will be my main keeps. Then from there, I really want to keep my champions, Gwen or Hecarim, because both of them are really important to this deck. So if I get either one of my champions early, that's good enough for me. Because even if they die early, it means that later on, our Hallowed is going to be a lot better. And obviously, the earlier we draw them, the less of a dead draw than stuff that Ruined Reckoner is, right? Because the Ruined Reckoner is really only good with Gwen, Hecarim, or Eternal Dancers. So you want to probably keep one of those two in your hand so that if you draw a Reckoner, it's not going to be like... If you do the Ruined Reckoner, it's not going to be like too much of a punish. The fact that these two are both called Reckoner is going to kill me. But anyways, but yeah, so Host, Butler, Shark Chariot, Gwen, Hecarim. Everything else, I think you can kick back. I guess you can keep Battlefist in certain matchups if you're going against aggro. But everything else you can keep back. You want to draw the Shadow Darkness later in the game. You don't need to draw it right at the moment. So you don't need to keep this in your hand, in my opinion. Just kind of play for your early units, push a lot of early damage, and then start setting up for your later turns later in the line. But enough about that. Hope you enjoyed the games and the showcase. Again, all the credit goes to who was the one that we stole this deck from when we lost to them in ladder. If you like the content, please make sure to like the video, like the video below and subscribe to us. Man, I say this thing every single day and I still mess it up. You can also leave a comment on tell me what you think about this deck. This deck, I think, again, I'm having a lot of fun with this deck. I'm probably going to play. I'm really having a hard time because I feel like we have showcased so many fun decks, right, that I don't know what to play. You can also find us on Twitch at Twitch Sirturmund, where we stream 3 to 4 times a week. And you can also find us on Discord and Twitter. The links to those are both in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow.